But one of the people in his entourage goes, "Sir, if the prophet would ask you to do something really hard, if he just said, go climb Mount Everest, wouldn't you have done it? I mean, we're here. Just give it a shot." And Naaman is like, this is so awkward. This is so humiliating. What if this doesn't work? I can't believe I'm such an idiot, but I'm going to try it. And he goes to the Jordan River, and one comes out. Two, could you imagine? 7 times? Could you just be going, I could just hear him thinking, if I come up the 7th time and I still have leprosy, there's going to be a heck to pay. I'm telling you right now. But when he came out of the water the 7th time, he was completely healed. And then there was this gratitude. He goes back to the prophet. I want to give you all this money. The prophet goes, I don't want it. I didn't do this for your money. I wanted you to know that there's a real God who cares about people. He was converted. He went on, changed man. But one of the points we need to draw from that story is the only way he could experience God, the power of God, the goodness of God, the reality of God. The only way he could experience that when he was willing to go outside his comfort zone and to do something that made him feel awkward, that made him feel like it was humiliating, but I will do it. And what happened when he got outside his comfort zone? He experienced God. I have a question. You want to experience God? I do. It doesn't happen there. It happens outside our comfort zone. Here's another thing the scriptures teach us. We impact others when we're outside our comfort zone. This is where we make the biggest, most positive difference in the lives of people. When we are here, yes, it feels better. It's not so awkward. It's not humiliating. There's not a big risk. We feel okay. We're comfortable. Everything is familiar. But the problem is, here we have virtually no impact on anyone. If we want to make a difference in the lives of our spouse, our kids, our friends, our community, our world, we got to leave here. We got to step outside our comfort zone and move over here. Again, there's a powerful story in the Bible that so reveals it. It's the story of Gideon. This is a more familiar story. But can we remind ourselves of the essential details? This was a time in the history of Israel, a people chosen by God to represent him to the whole world. And if they would only follow him and love him, God would bless them and the whole world would come to know and understand God. But they kept dropping the ball, and they had dropped the ball big time, and consequently, they had been conquered by another country called Midian. The Midianites were a ruthless and cruel people. When they conquered someone, they literally thought, we're just going to rape the land. We're going to kill all the people we find. We're going to make life miserable for them. Whatever they're able to produce, we're going to steal. And eventually, when all the resources are gone and the people are dead, we'll just move on. They were like human locusts in the way they moved through their corner of the world. And man, once they conquered Israel, it was bad. The people had to flee their homes. They lived in caves. They tried to hide. They tried to eke out a living. They would try to grow little patches of crops somewhere where it wouldn't be seen, so it would be stolen. And on one particular occasion, Gideon had taken a little bit of grain that they'd managed to grow, but he needed to thrash the grain to get the grains out of it. And so he found an abandoned wine press. Little stone structure that they used to put grapes in, and then they stomp on the grapes and whatnot, and he put the grain in there, and he's kept really low, and he's thrashing the grain in there so he can't be seen by people that are around. Well, he couldn't be seen by anybody from Midian, but he could be seen by God. And God sends an angel down and says, Gideon, mighty man of valor, God has chosen you to lead the armies of Israel. First of all, we have no army. We have no weapons. I have chosen you to lead the armies of Israel, to overthrow the Midianites and bring freedom back, to stop the oppression and the brutality hoisted upon your people. You're going to lead them. And Gideon is like, oh, you have so got the wrong guy. And they go through this whole fleece thing. Maybe you know the story of the fleece. Okay, God, I need a sign that you really want to do this because this makes no sense. I am a coward farmer trying to hide from the enemy so that my life won't be taken and my stuff won't be stolen. And you want me to lead an army to overthrow the most brutal forces on the face of the earth? God goes, yep, I think you got the call. So Gideon's like, could you, how awkward, how uncomfortable. Oh. So he gets word out, and all the men that are left from around when the word they gathered to Gideon. And there were actually thousands of them. And Gideon goes, okay, there's not enough of us, and we're not well trained, we don't have any weapons. And then God goes, Gideon, excuse me, you have a problem. And Gideon goes, tell me about it. God goes, yeah, no, you don't know what the problem is. Too many people. I'm sorry. Say that again. Tell everybody who's afraid to go home. I'm sure Gideon said, does that count? Me? No, not you. Everybody who's afraid can go home. 22,000 people leave. God, now I don't have very many left. And God goes, Gideon, we have a problem. And Gideon goes, yeah, tell me about it. God goes, still too many people. You Gideon at this point has got to be going, okay, seriously, you just messing with me, aren't you? Yeah, just go have them get a drink, and everybody that gets down and laps like that, tell them they can go home, but everybody scoops it out in the water and drinks like this while they're looking around, you can keep them. So he takes them to get a drink of water. Almost everybody just laps. Only 300 people drank water by scooping up, looking around. I said, okay, there's your troops right there. It was the first story 300 happened in the Bible, not in the movies in Hollywood years ago. 300. And then God goes, Gideon, we have a problem. And Gideon goes, tell me about it. I goes, yeah, because you got a few swords and whatnot, you can't use those. Here's what you're going to use. You're going to use a clay pitcher with a candle inside and a trumpet. That's really all you need. Now, honestly, could you put yourself in Gideon's shoes, especially if you don't know the end of the story, and going, I'm just a coward farmer. And I am being stretched so much that I feel so uncomfortable, I don't know if I can stand it. What in the world are you doing? Are you just leading me into humiliation? Are you leading me into slaughter? Just surround the camp of the army of the Midianites when they're sleeping in the middle of the night, and all I want you to do is, when I just give you a signal, I want you to break the pitcher so your light shines, and I just want you to blow on the trumpet and shout, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Okay. So that's what they did. And we did this dumb strategy, breaking the candle shining, blow on a trumpet. All 300 of us, we're shouting. We can barely hear each other. The Midian army wakes up and it says, and God sent a confusion among them. And they got up and they assumed that, every point of light was like a whole battalion of soldiers. And they got up and they're running around looking for their weapons, and it's totally dark where they're at. And when they bump into each other, they think they're bumping into enemy soldiers. And when they find weapons, they began fighting each other. And they slaughtered each other. And then the 300 kind of went down and made some noise. And a few of them left, begun to run. And then other guys joined it. And they chased them and liberated Israel. Defeated the most brutal nation on the face of the earth at the time. And ushered in peace and freedom and prosperity. And oh my goodness, it changed the lives of untold thousands of people because one person was willing to leave his comfort zone to go out here where it's uncomfortable and awkward and difficult, and just because when you're out there, you're in a position where you can